I practically raised my stepdaughter, but now she can't stand me.
So sit.
You got it. You took it right out of my mouth.
Oh, story over. I, 45 female, have been with my husband for 15 years, married for 13. His daughter started living with us part-time, and I basically raised her and spent as much time with her as her biological mother. By the way, this comes from user Folk Imperialism. And you can submit your stories on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my husband and I had conversations where he convinced me not to have kids on our own, as I should consider his daughter as mine. And I was happy to, because I started loving this girl immediately. I also liked the, quote, every other week parent's role, as it gave me an opportunity to be a good parent when she was here, and also arranging my workload and business travels when she was not with us. The first 5 or 6 years together were a blessing. I loved spending time with her, teaching her things, brushing her hair, watching movies together. As cooking is my love language, I would always plan the best meals for her and her dad, and we'd cook together. And as I'm quite a school nerd, I was the one to take care of all of her homework. Oh, don't do that. Let the child do its homework.
Let the AI do the homework.
And as I'm quite a school nerd, I was the one to take care of all her homework. My husband would drive her to school in the morning, and I would get her out, make dinner, do homework, and then go back to my computer to continue working. It really sounds like she's doing the homework for this kid, and I think that's not smart. On weekends, I'd arrange for family activities, go shopping with her, and always push my husband and his daughter to have some quality one-on-one time. I'd take her from time to time to my charity activities or bring her to work when exceptionally the sitter was on sick leave. Husband and I shared costs equally at home. Also, my parents that we visited during vacation loved her and would spoil her as their own granddaughter. She loved them back and even learned some Spanish, as my parents live in a Spanish-speaking country. I really thought we had a great relationship. When she hit 13, her whole demeanor changed, and little by little, as she really became a very mean and rude teenager, I took some distances, and my husband hired someone to take care of the homework, as I did not want to add that extra tension between us. I still did my best to be a good parent, but still serious about her education and values. It was never too bad, but she would randomly say hurtful things for no reason, like, you know you'll never be my mom, right?
Ouch.
To which I would answer, I know, but do you know that I will still always consider you and love you as my child? Ooh, nice response, though. That's a sweet baby response.
Love that.
She would also regularly talk back, criticize almost everything I would say or do, ignore me, and slam doors. Sounds like a teenager. During these years, I felt bullied in my own home, but tried to focus on something else, as we also had once or twice a year some good moments where she would come to tell me about a boy she liked, ask me advice on choosing clothes, etc. What hurt me the most is that she completely erased from her memory anything that we had before. Do you remember that time we went to this museum? Do you remember when we saw dolphins on our boat trip? No, nothing. She says she doesn't recall any of the things we did together. I even once told her that her Spanish accent was really great and that I was happy she got to learn it with locals at a young age, but she totally dismissed it. I never learned Spanish with you. I only learned it in school.
She's just lying to get your goat. She doesn't not remember it. She's just being petty.
Yeah, she's being a teenager.
She's being a teenager.
She's being a mean teenager.
It happens.
Dang. Regardless, all these years I kept making sure to cook her favorite meals, choosing nice gifts I knew she'd like, redecorating her room to her taste, driving her where she needed to go when her father couldn't. At 18 years old, she had a big fight with her father. I was in another room and I heard her screaming how much she hated me and how much I basically ruined everything and took any joy from her life. Her father kept asking, what has she done to you? But she had no answer. Yeah. Well, she did all my homework and she always cooks and she cleans my room and she also does the feng shui.
But like when she like drives me everywhere that I need to go, like when you can't do it, she like uses the turn signal and it's like annoying me or something.
She's like so cringe, dude. Like,
it's like cringe.
For real. I just can't stand it. She's cringe.
Yeah.
Ugh. Hearing that shattered my heart into pieces. My whole body was aching like I had been hit by a ton of bricks. Ooh. Hearing her words, I felt the most pain I've ever experienced in my whole life.
Aww.
When my husband found me after she left, I was on the floor crying like a baby. For 2 days, I couldn't leave my bed, literally. After that, I suggested to my husband we should separate at least for some time because I didn't feel like I belonged in this family. Dude, this girl's destroying you. He refused this, but he promised to go see a therapist for the two of them. After that, my daughter-in-law decided to live full-time with her mother. Husband and his daughter went to family therapy, and she never explained the reason why she hated me so much. The only thing my husband reported back is that she felt I was trying to replace her real mother. On my side, I also went to therapy because that day broke me for good. I really felt like my whole life was a lie. My therapist helped me go through a mourning process, trying to accept my own choices and live with the fact that I had no child. Wow. I mean, yeah, that's a lot to analyze, but it's like, hey, you're doing the hard work, because it's true. It's like, that's actually not your kid.
Yeah, and
right?
like if she accepts that, it's like it's literally like we said, mourning. But it's like, okay, on the other side of that, at least you don't, because right now she's constantly getting disappointed. Yeah. At least you won't have this constant disappointment just thrown in your face every single second.
Yeah, you can temper your expectations.
I'm curious on the parents here. Where is the line where it's like from terrible teenager to just you're a terrible person? You know what I mean? Like when
I think around 16, 17 is when like the line between like, all right, you're just trouble, to like, all right, you're going to be in trouble if you don't change.
Because like I could, to a degree, I could be like, okay, this kid probably, she wants her mom and dad together. You know, she just wants like the old parents back. But the lengths and how far this kid is going is evil.
Well, it sounds like the fight with her dad, it's like she didn't say any of that. I mean, it was loud enough for her to hear, but it's not like she screamed it at the stepmom.
That is true.
But at the same time, it's still, it's like she said it. She said it regardless. Yeah. So since then, she comes over for dinner with us once or twice a month on her own. She also once reached out to me to ask for help with her university work. She stayed with us 2 weeks so I could help and review the end-year project she was working on. Her relationship with her father improved a lot these past years, and now they are very close. I'm very happy about this, and I will always find a way to give them time to be just the two of them when she visits. As they are having a good quality time together, my husband now wants me to spend more time with her and is now frustrated that I do not want to. What my husband doesn't see is that my situation with his daughter never improved. As we did not live together, there are no more fights, but I still know how much she hates me. To give you some examples, just last Thanksgiving, while we were all at my in-laws, my stepdaughter would never talk to me, roll her eyes literally every time I speak, refuse to say good morning to me. If I insist, she would always answer, "Oh, I didn't hear you," exactly like she did as a teenager. Refused to touch anything I would touch first, and would not let me even set the table, or at least not her plate or glass. What is this? If my husband's family is nice to me or congratulates me for my work achievements or my cooking, she would always become very silent, look annoyed, or even leave the room. She makes snarky comments and mocks me every occasion she has, always small things that could easily pass as, "Oh, it's just a joke. Just a joke." She refuses to eat anything I cook, saying it's not to her taste, even if I sometimes spot her discreetly eating it later. So, what happened? When did she decide to hold the most petty, potential? When did she decide she hates you?
I think when she literally wasn't her mom. Like, I feel like it was from the jump of like, okay, my parents are separated. I want my real mom. I want my mom and dad together. Yeah. So I'm just going to hate you. I'm going to try to hate you out of you existing as a stepmom figure.
Yeah. So the 13-year-old brain hit and it said, "That's not your mom."
It locked in.
Do you think like a friend or like, because when it like comes to like being a teenager, like
could be 13.
Yeah, like friends kind of like start putting that nonsense in your head.
Yeah, and she's not 13 anymore. Now she's 18.
Can we be honest? When we were, the three of us were teenagers, and then the people we knew, right? I feel like the vast majority of people I knew as a teenager from 13 to 18 would not behave like this. Not some people, you got your wackos, but I feel like I feel like a person who isn't actually a angry, bitter person at heart. Like, I don't think it's just like a phase.
I think they just are going through a lot. You got the separation.
It's true.
It's like everybody's different, and it's like I know a lot of teenagers who went through a lot of crazy insanity. It's like I'll be like, Euphoria is such a dumb show because it's not realistic, and then I'll think of some people I knew growing up, and I'm like, wait a minute, it kind of is, which is bad. It's really bad, and I fear for all of the children. Although my husband saw how my mental health suffered from this episode a few years ago, he doesn't seem to understand why I don't want to spend more time with his daughter. He never sees all the attitudes I see, and he says it's just me overanalyzing everything, but I know I'm not. And I am really at a point where I don't know what to do and how to make him understand. Here is some additional info. I want to thank you all for the support and even the harsh words about my responsibility. I realized that in my post, I only focused on me and did not tell you enough about my husband and the bio mom. First, I will answer a question that came up in the comments. comments, my husband and his ex were separated before we met. He had a few girlfriends, but I was the first serious one and the only one he introduced to his daughter. Second question I saw in the comments. Yes, we also went to family therapy, the three of us, sometimes when she was 14, but my stepdaughter would be very silent when I was there, or she would cry, which was extremely painful to watch. That is where we were advised it would be better to go without me. Up till now, I have never received any explanation on the why she hates me. The only thing, as I said before, was me trying too hard to replace her mom. I never felt I was doing that, but I certainly was trying to be a good parent. I also feel I need to clarify a few things, as a lot of people here were mad at my husband. And I need to tell you, he is a good person, but he's not perfect, because who is? My husband is not really the caring kind. He's unable to plan anything for others if he's not reminded to do so, but he has many other good sides.
This is the classic, like, look, my husband is a great guy, but he's terrible at this, terrible at this, terrible at that, and terrible at that, but he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's like,
that's what it's giving.
My husband's great. He literally can't think of another person besides himself, but there's sides to him that are great.
There's good in him.
Yeah, like his left side is really his best side. He is very generous with his money to everyone, his family and friends. Oh, so he's a showboat. He's trustworthy. No, he's not. And he is the funniest person I know. I bet. He lights up a room when he enters. Oh, what's that? The darkness is here. Oh, sorry. I'll stop being contrarian.
He turns off the lights so he can be.
Yeah. Also, my husband did take care of his daughter on certain aspects. I could not, as I had no legal rights to her. Like, he would attend all the teachers' meetings with her mother, and he would also take care of all things that relate to healthcare. My husband is grateful for everything I did, and he always acknowledges how he would have never been able to raise his daughter if it were not for me doing the biggest part. Also, during the teenage years, he always had my back when we had words with my stepdaughter. And that is also the reason why, I guess, his daughter was mean to both of us, accusing us of siding against her. And these fights we had, it was never big, always just stupid teenage things. The main topic was me asking her for respect to me and to the house rules, like not insulting me, screaming at me, throwing a tantrum because of little chores like emptying the dishwasher or cleaning her room, or having a curfew when she went out to a party. Regarding not having kids of my own, that is probably the hardest part. And I have to admit that I have some anger towards my husband about this, especially as I terminated 2 pregnancies early in our marriage. Both pregnancies happened when I was on birth control. However, this is a topic I worked on with my therapist, and I have to accept that I'm the one responsible for my choices. I was an adult, and I should have fought more for it if I wanted it. I need to own my mistakes, although at the time, I was under the illusion I already had a daughter, and I did love her from the bottom of my heart. Dang, that is, oh my God.
Like, it sounds like early in the relationship, she was on birth control, and he was like, hey, not ready yet. Like, don't want to have the baby now. And she's like, well, at least I have stepdaughter. That is my daughter.
Right. It's like, well, I feel like she's my daughter.
But nope.
And then she grows up and goes, you're literally not my mom. Shut up. You are cringe.
And I guess she can't have children now? I guess she's too old or something?
I would assume, like, yeah, that's probably where it's at.
This is awful.
Regarding the biological mother, yes, she might have or probably spoke ill about me, but I absolutely have no proof of that. I always kept a cordial relationship with her. We would meet quite regularly when she came to pick up our girl, and I would always invite her for a coffee and a piece of cake. If her daughter was with us when it was Mother's Day or when it was her birthday, I'd always buy her a bouquet of flowers, and my husband would take his daughter to spend some time with her mom. Once, I remember my stepdaughter was with me the whole week as my husband was on a business trip, and the bio mom told me she was by her own, so I cooked a nice meal, invited her over to our place, and I went to buy her a gift with my stepdaughter. She brought the cake, and we had a nice, slightly awkward, but overall nice time. Just the 3 of us. The only incident I can recall is her once asking me, can you please stop making homemade meals, as my daughters keep comparing our food and now refuses to eat my frozen dinners.
Oh, so she was sticking her nose up and being like, oh, every time someone compliments her food or was like talking about her food. And she literally won't even eat what you make her because her food was that good.
Yeah. I mean,
dude,
I laughed it up politely like it was a compliment, and it ended there. I also remember pushing my husband for some medical consultation when I thought my stepdaughter needed to see an orthopedic surgeon or a dentist or a child psychologist. I know my husband and his ex had words about that, as she did not agree. I ended up being right about the need I suspected each time. which might have upset her, but these are very insignificant moments over a 15-year time period. I might also add that the bio mom never had a serious boyfriend after she split up with my husband. She doesn't have many close people around her, and her whole life revolves around her daughter, and I know for sure she loves her more than life, which is why it's hard for me to think she would sabotage our relationship, as it would be counterproductive for her daughter. Because despite everything, I really think I was a good, caring parent, and I have been a great academic support to her daughter through the years. One last thing I would like to add. All these years, and even now, sometimes my stepdaughter would be very nice to me. It would last a few minutes. We would talk about science as she's interested in this topic, or I would share experience about my charity work, or she would need help with something like fixing her dress and would ask nicely and thank me afterward. But every time that would happen, she would always immediately be even meaner right after. It is really weird, like if she forgot to be rude to me for a second and then just remembered that she has to and proceeded to overcorrect her attitude. I have no explanation for this. It's either that or she's like mind gaming you. She's either like literally forgetting that she's supposed to be rude, or she's like, oh, this will really throw her for a loop.
Yeah, I kind of don't. I low-key don't trust her.
I wouldn't. The problem now is that my husband wants us to all be united. He wants us to be all together in these big family events as a perfect family picture. I asked him after Thanksgiving if he noticed how his daughter treated me during that week, and he was totally oblivious of it. He loves his daughter, and I love the fact that he does, but I am done loving her. I have no hate in my heart. I really went through a grieving process to get myself out of a severe depression, and playing a new role is just now impossible for me. I just don't want to be bullied or feel uncomfortable, and I do not want to be forced to spend time with someone who so obviously despises everything about me. And we have an update. Your thoughts, John, before we get into the update? Or
I mean, just what a process OP has got to go through and how fair she is. Like, I mean, I would understand if she was like, it's not right to be mad at a child, but I'm kind of hurt, but she's like, I don't love her because, again, like, I think it's the process of like, if I see her as a daughter, I will constantly be disappointed. So I can't love her as a daughter. Like, I literally have to like view her as this like other separate entity to be able to just like live my life and not constantly be
to have
sad.
This semblance of good mental health, because that was definitely a big point in her life,
dude.
wanting a kid.
Huge. And yeah, just so many red flags about the husband. And I think the thing about him being oblivious, yes, sometimes people truly are just like ignorant and oblivious to something, but they've had so many therapy sessions and everything else, I don't think he can play the ignorance card anymore. I think if he was being an active partner, he would be like, okay, maybe I'm not naturally observant. I need to lean in to make sure I'm noticing whenever these moments happen. Right. So I don't think he can play that card anymore.
Yeah, it is true.
He lost it.
It is true. He should know. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I took a few days to reflect on all your comments and decided to have a serious conversation with my husband.
Oh.
I know many of you wanted me to ditch him or blame him for robbing me from having my own kids, and I somehow do, but I also have to acknowledge my responsibility for that. It's my fault to not have stood up for myself in that moment and took the easy road of letting someone else decide for me. Our marriage is not perfect, but I still love him and wanted to find a way we could continue living together without having to add the extra stress his daughter Mia brings. This is how it went. We need to have a serious conversation. Do you remember when we came back from Thanksgiving and when I asked you if you noticed Mia's attitude towards me and you said no? No. What do you mean no? You did not ask me if I noticed her attitude. You asked me if I noticed how much she hated you.
Brother.
What's the difference? Well, I did notice a few things, but it doesn't mean she hates you. It's complicated. Listen, I'm done playing with words. I need you to be honest with me. What have you noticed? Well, I saw that she was mean with you. She had tough words. And she would act very weird around food you cooked or touched that I saw. And I saw her rolling her eyes whenever you talked. That was such a relief to hear him say these words. Finally, someone else saw it, and I'm not crazy. I told him about all the other things and forced him to listen and understand. Also found out that even my mother-in-law noticed Mia's demeanor. She mentioned it to my husband. Somehow, that is reassuring because I often question what part I'm seeing is paranoia or interpretation rather than reality. And it turned out I also missed a few things myself, and because I kept our interaction to the minimum during during that week, I didn't notice that Mia was acting weird towards my husband as well. And by the way, you know, it would be so weird.
What?
It would be so weird if I'm talking to you, did not find full episodes with stories like this that you can listen to at your pleasure. All you have to do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts and search up OK Storytime, and there you will find the archives, and they are complete, and you may peruse them.
That would be freaky.
Yeah. So you had some words to add.
So before I was like, oh, he can't play the ignorant card.
Mm-hmm.
He knows, but isn't taking it seriously, which is worse. He knows what's going on, but refuses to. He's like, oh, yeah, she just like rolls her eyes every time you breathe and like hates on your food, then runs away and eats it in the bathroom because she loves it. And like, da-da-da-da. It's like, bro, do you not see? You literally know what's going on, but you're not confronting it because you don't want to like truly acknowledge OP's feelings and like truly deal with what is happening here.
True. So here is the end of the story. My husband then confessed that the 3 first days were amazing. I did see them talking together, joking around, listening to music, and running errands, but the last 3 days were very difficult, and his daughter barely talked to him and was in her room most of the time. At this point, I asked him if he has any clue why we are here, and if he thought maybe Mia was depressed, which might explain the changing mood. My husband's best guess is that Mia's bio mom has probably called her and poisoned her mind, which led her to be moody, but this is just a guess. Well, to cut it short, I still don't know why my stepdaughter hates me. My husband acknowledged that he needs to quit pushing me to spend time with her, and he promised he won't do it anymore, even if that means I won't be attending some of the family events. Also, he will talk to his daughter and try to understand what the problem is, although that is no longer my problem, but his to handle. And I think that's good, realizing that, hey, you got to take your horse out of the race here. There's nothing you can do.
Agreed.
Thanks again for the support and for helping me stand my ground. And that
Stand your ground.
is the end of that story.
That's the end. Dude.
Sometimes, man, it's the minds of others. They are an enigma.
Poor freaking OP. Like, what a soldier. That's all I'm going to say. What a soldier.
Truly.
Like,
that was years and years of OP's life in that story. Like,
and I felt like she didn't unfairly, like, she was, like, very empathetic for everyone else, despite her just going through so much.
Yeah. She really made it less about, it was really all about the child. It was all about the kid.
Yeah.
She's like, I just want the kid to be good. I wish we were good.
Yep.
I just want her to be good. She's not my daughter. She's not my kid. I wish she was. There's still time, though. Still a lot of life left.
It's definitely a maturity thing, and hopefully she realizes maybe, oh, I was a little bit of a brat and a disgusting kid and can make amends, but that's just down the line, and you just got to give it some time.
Leave it up to Hope.